Don't even think about it.
Did you know the girl in glasses at the beginning of Spider-Man is Liz Allen? Did you know that when Peter first gets sick from the spider bite, he attempts to yell for help in his room, but his voice is too weak? These are the many moments from Spider-Man not present in the actual movie. Instead, they are restricted to the official novelization, older versions of the script, and conceptual artwork. These are the untold stories of Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man movie, and every piece of additional content elevates the story of Spider-Man in some way.
I started this company. You know how much I sacrificed?
After Norman Osborn is ousted as the CEO of Oscorp by the board, he seeks revenge. At the Unity Day festival, the Green Goblin attacks the board members, disintegrating them using a pumpkin bomb. However, this storyline was initially meant to be much longer. Originally, Green Goblin was supposed to systematically hunt down the board members who survived the Unity Day attack. One of these members is Mr. Fargus, who appears in several scenes within the film. According to storyboards, Fargus continues his life under heavy security after surviving the initial attack. However, as he leaves Oscorp, he quickly realizes his life is at stake. A pumpkin bomb explodes his car, killing everyone except Fargus himself. He attempts to crawl away, but hears a strange sound above him. The Green Goblin, now reveling in the chaos and destruction, Goblin flies upwards, preparing to finish the job. Goblin swoops down and activates his machine gun, but Spider-Man intervenes, kicking Goblin off course. Goblin loses control of his glider and fires wildly, giving Spider-Man enough time to help Fargus escape safely. Goblin returns to the scene to find Spider-Man and Fargus gone, leaving to strike another day. This scene was intended to establish Goblin's revenge as a central plot point in the movie. However, it was cut due to time constraints, so Fargus died during the Unity Day attack instead. This moment is alluded to in several instances. There's this Daily Bugle newspaper that mentions how Fargus survived. There's also these pieces of conceptual artwork that could be depicting this moment of Spider-Man fighting the Green Goblin within the city. Another scene that was cut from the film involved the Green Goblin attacking an Oscorp weapons event where the company showcased their high-tech weapons. In the original movie, Peter discovers his powers when he runs to an alley and notices a spider web, realizing a connection between spiders and his abilities. However, according to early storyboards, this scene was initially very different. Instead of heading to an alley, Peter went to a public library where he researched various types of spiders to understand his abilities. Clearly, this scene was meant to be much more tense and create a sense of dread than what is shown in the final film. The production team actually almost filmed this scene and even scouted a library in New York and planned the shoot. However, director Sam Raimi and the producers decided that filming in the library would be too time-consuming given the tight production schedule. As a result, the scene was cut and the moment was simplified in the final film. Peter's discovery of his powers in the novel differs from the film. In the book, Peter's spider sense activates when he misses the school bus for the second time, narrowly avoiding a truck. He is forced to leap 3 stories into the air and clings to a nearby building. This scene mirrors how his origin is handled in the comics and is depicted in very early storyboards for the film and the video game tie-in. Another alternative scene shows Peter testing out his webs in a bathroom, which builds tension and highlights his anxiety about his powers. This moment happens right after the cafeteria scene, leading into his fight with Flash Thompson. In a novelization, Peter realizes that the Green Goblin knows his identity after Aunt May is attacked. In a panic, he runs to the hospital roof and screams in frustration, fearing the Goblin will go after his loved ones. This moment was expanded upon in another unused sequence where Peter enters the hospital boiler room, preparing to burn his Spider-Man costume and give up on his responsibility.
Can Spider-Man come out to play?
In Spider-Man, Peter discovers that Mary Jane had been kidnapped by the Green Goblin when he calls her house and hears the Goblin's voice on the answering machine. Initially, there was a sequence showing the kidnapping itself, where Goblin bursts into Mary Jane's room, much like he did to Aunt May. This scene appears in the Spider-Man movie tie-in game. However, an alternative version of this sequence also exists within an alternative script. In this version, Aunt May tells Peter to go to Mary Jane's house to confess his love, knowing he must express his feelings before it's too late. Peter rushes there, planning to reveal his Spider-Man identity. When he arrives, he finds Mary Jane standing and trembling in her room, seemingly fearful of something unknown. As Peter approaches, he notices a figure hiding behind the curtains, holding a large object against Mary Jane's back. The Green Goblin. Goblin activates his glider and flies out the window with Mary Jane, sparking a city-wide chase sequence leading to the final confrontation. In the novelization, Eddie Brock directly appears at the Daily Bugle when Peter presents his Spider-Man photos. Eddie was being kicked out by J. Jonah Jameson for submitting poor quality images. Eddie briefly confronts Peter, possibly resentful of the better photos Peter got. This scene was actually filmed, with Eddie Brock, played by actor R.C. Everbeck, who confirms the interaction. However, this moment was cut, though references to Eddie remain in the final film.
Problem is, we don't have a decent picture. Eddie's been on it for weeks. We can barely get a glimpse of him.
Oh, what is he, shy? If we can get a picture of Julia Roberts in a thong, we can certainly get a picture of this weirdo.
The spider sense is used extensively in the movie, but the novelization provides additional moments to build tension. For example, Peter's spider sense tingles faintly when Norman Osborn is around after the lab accident, indicating that Peter can sense the Green Goblin's presence within Norman. During the Thanksgiving dinner, when Peter's arm begins to bleed, his spider sense intensifies, becoming a painful warning of Norman's Green Goblin persona taking over.
How did you say that happened? bike messenger. Knock me down.
The novel explores the relationship between Mary Jane and Flash Thompson in more detail. In the story, Mary Jane dreams of becoming an actress. She attends an audition, believing she nailed the performance, but the casting director harshly criticizes her, suggesting she should take acting classes.
So how'd it go?
They said I needed acting lessons. A soap opera told me I needed acting lessons.
The casting director is revealed to be Flash Thompson's aunt, who's working with Flash to make Mary Jane suffer for breaking up with him during graduation. The only reason the two were dating is that Mary Jane was pressured by her father to date Flash, as Flash was close to him. Mary Jane's father saw a reflection of himself in Flash and essentially offered Mary Jane to him as a gift. Breaking up with Flash was Mary Jane's way of rejecting her father's control, and Flash responded by making it his mission to ruin her life.